I just want to reach as many managers and leaders as possible because I really think kindness and empathy are crucial in business. Often they feel they can't do the setting the direction and the boundaries and still be kind. And that's not the case because for many years in my corporate life, I was able to still be kind and show empathy and get the results I wanted by setting the right boundaries. And it's about giving people that kind of confidence and courage.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Rexhen, and today's guest is Nicola Richardson, a leadership communications mentor, speaker, and creator of the Compass framework, dedicated to helping leaders turn dreaded workplace conversations into opportunities for trust, clarity, and lasting team performance. As the founder of the People Mentor, Nicola brings over 30 years of leadership experience across diverse organizations, from local authorities to national teams. She specializes in guiding leaders through conflict resolution, tough feedback, and cultural changes, the moments that can make or break a team. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Nicola.
Thank you. And thank you for having me, Rexhen. I really appreciate it. And I even managed your name okay. So that's really good because, as I said, I have these issues with pronunciation sometimes. And the worst bit is I can see my daughters have it as well.
Very not normal because it's only in Albania actually where the accent and age would make a G. So it's very rare. So I totally understand that. I actually help people pronounce that in every podcast episode before we get started. So it's pretty normal for me. But yeah, so I really appreciate you taking the time to come into our podcast today. Wanted to learn a little bit more about your beginnings as a coach. So when it comes to you starting your coaching business, first of all, I know it's been almost 10 years from now, right?
Yeah, in December it will be 10 years. And I started because I had a very bad experience at work. So I was a leader and running an operational team, set of teams. And I had a lot of stress going on at home. And it was also very stressful meeting the targets because it was government. And so you had to hit the targets. And if you didn't, there was like inquiries about why you weren't hitting it. So it was really, really, really stressful. And at home, my father was dying and it was really, really hard. I was going to see him every day. And I had a manager who had no clue what was going on with me. My team around me knew because I was quite vulnerable about what I was feeling. And she hauled me into an office and started shouting at me about how stressed I was. And of course, what do you do when somebody shouts at you and accuses you? You withdraw and you're not going to share what you're feeling because you don't feel safe. So I walked out of there, and a few weeks later, because she was still kind of doing this behavior, I had a heart attack. And so after my heart attack, I sat down and thought, what am I going to do? I don't want to be in an environment where you don't care for your employees, where you don't support them, and where you don't try to work with them to understand what's going on. And so I did my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats a SWOT. And I came out with, look, this is where my skills are. Let me go and train. So I went and did some Chartered Management Institute diplomas and started my business part-time while still working so that I could kind of get my feet under the table first.
And so
that's
after
how
10
it
years
began.
right now, when thinking about the clients that you work with and the coaching journey that you go through with them, what about it do you find most rewarding?
It's seeing people able to have the conversations that they have been avoiding or they've been dreading and they're worried about people's reactions, and seeing them actually go and have the conversation and come back and say, actually, it went better than I expected. Thank you for all your support. And it's just seeing them achieve something and knowing that they can take those tools, what I've given them, and they can keep using it now.
For that portion of the audience, if they're listening, how would you describe the ideal client profile? Is there a certain industry, a certain demographic or psychographic? How would you describe your ideal client profile if they're listening?
So originally I started my business looking to work with a small business owner who probably is thrown in the deep end and is really, really struggling and has nobody to turn to. And they might have ad hoc HR, but they're not getting the skills they really need. But that has evolved over the times, and not necessarily through choice, but because what I found is I'm getting a lot of local authority, local government type people, lots of NHS. So it's a lot of individuals that come to me. And then I'm getting the smaller businesses, like, so maybe 200 employees who also want support. So it's evolved into that kind of area, and charities as well. So, it's not by choice necessarily, but that's where I found I fit best.
How is the engagement of working with you? Do they go through a certain program of a certain length? Is it all one-on-one coaching? Is there group coaching as well? How do you describe that?
Yeah, no, I've got a variety of programs. So I have Making Difficult Conversations Easier online program, which is the online learning. I put a deadline of 3 months on it because what I've seen is people procrastinate. When you think you've got something for a long time, you don't do it. So I give them 3 months to get through the learning, but for a year they get a community where they can come in, just ask me anything. And they also get additional learning put into the community as well. I've got one-to-one coaching, mentoring at different levels, so they can pick the level they want to come in at. And I've also got things like mastering emotional conversations, because I see this is a real issue with a lot of people. And when I look at the blogs on my website, I can see that they're the sort of the most read blogs. And it's especially around dealing with colleagues. They really struggle with how to deal with somebody who's superior, how to deal with somebody who's undermining them. So a lot of my things are centered around trying to support them in those areas. And I've also got a manager's academy. So if you've got a new manager who's really struggling, there's no training provided, then they get the manager's academy, and it takes them through the whole manager's journey. I think LinkedIn predominantly, and also my website, because of my blogs, I think, because I've got lots and lots of blogs on there. And now I'm starting to see YouTube as well, because I've got a lot of videos on YouTube now. And that's been a concerted effort to get out there and make it easier for people so that they can watch a video and it will help them. Now, of course, not everybody will watch a video and immediately be able to go and do what they want. So for those that can't take the actions and want some more reassurance and support.
I've noticed that on your LinkedIn, there's almost 16,000 followers. Was there a strategy to get there? Are you posting regularly?
Yeah, I post a minimum of 3 times a week. What I found has really helped is having my newsletter once a fortnight and making it very practical. That's really helping. I've just made sure I've kept connecting with people and being very specific. So like looking for managers, looking for directors, people who would need the services.
And where do you see your coaching business going for the next 1 to 3 years? Are there some specific goals that you're working towards?
I just want to reach as many managers and leaders as possible, because I really think kindness and empathy are crucial in business. And often they feel they can't do the setting the direction and the boundaries and still be kind. And that's not the case, because for many years in my corporate life, I was able to still be kind and show empathy and get the results I wanted by setting the right boundaries. And it's about giving people that kind of confidence and courage to be able to do it.
Right now, you're focusing on basically maintaining the work that you're doing while still reaching out to many, many other leaders in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not stopping still. I want to still keep growing. I still want to reach the right people. I'm still looking at what other programs I can bring in, and I'm probably going to be in the next few months designing some more programs that will help leaders and managers in the businesses who are feeling perhaps a little bit lost or feeling like, actually, I don't belong here. Why did I take on this management role? Because we all get those moments when we think, oh my goodness, I'm not cut out for this. I'm an imposter. And actually, quite often it's just simply because you haven't developed the skill that you need at that particular point in time. And which is why I love my Managers Academy particularly, because it gives them all the skills and they can just drop in when they're struggling with something and get the videos and the online learning and pop into the community and get the
what
support
kind of
they need.
programs are you thinking? Would you expand a little bit more on that?
I think it's more about, the imposter or the confidence building. And it kind of almost goes into your personal life, doesn't it? Because a lot of the skills that I'm teaching can actually be used at home as well, or in any hobbies, or, like I'm a trustee and all the skills that I've learned over the years and my difficult conversations and my management and leadership, I'm actually taking into the charity at the moment and helping them with their employees. So it feels like a really big win.
Have you done any investments in your coaching business? And we're looking at two different types of investments. So either investments that you feel really good about, that you either learned a lot or that you got a good return from, or investments that you feel like, you probably should have avoided, or not so good investments, let's say.
Yeah. At the beginning, I did a lot of content type investment, and I still continue to do that because I don't think you can stand still. So I think you need to look at what's going on, say on LinkedIn, and how people are responding to posts. So I'm always open to listening to new people about how they write content, etc. And I did invest for a good year on somebody who helped me with my content, and that was brilliant. But I'm still open to investing as well in stuff to help me develop, such as difficult conversations, because you can never stand still. You can't ever think you know it all, because you don't. You've got to keep investing. So that was for me. Some of the things I've invested in that were rubbish were when they were quite well-known coaches. And actually it wasn't really, I was learning by the lights. And actually when I got in, it wasn't what I actually
Cool.
needed at
And
the time.
what when we think about right now your goals of continuing to grow in a steady way, and also think about the programs that you want to build, where are you seeing the challenges that you're trying to solve for next to get closer to that?
I think, and I would say it's particularly in the UK at the moment, there is a lot of holding back and not investing in training and development for employees because of the climate we're in, the cost of living. Things are very expensive at the moment. People haven't got that spare money. So one of the first areas they always cut is training and development. And I know this from my corporate days. If you were up against it, the training and development time would be cut, or the money would be cut. And that's the way. But to me, that's a really sad state to be in, because what happens is we're actually seeing a drop in employee engagement. We're seeing a drop in productivity because we're not investing in people and we're not making them feel valued. We're not giving them the skills that they need. And that has been my biggest headache in the last 6 months to a year. And I think by doing courses that are more reasonable, I think it's believe in yourself, because often you'll go and invest in learning that actually you probably didn't need, but because you think you're struggling a bit, you go in and you invest in this learning. So really look at what your skills are, list everything that you've done in your life, all the training you've done, all the experiences you have, because that will make you realize how much you've already achieved, and actually you don't need everything that you're looking for. And then the other thing to me is I see a lot of people who invest in more than one mentor and coach at a time. And I think whilst that's okay, it can cause conflict sometimes, because you can have two coaches and they can be saying different things, and then it's just blowing your mind. So I always think it's better to have one mentor or coach and do what you've agreed with them, and get that through
Cool.
that before you go to your
Thank you
next
so much,
one.
Nicola. And thank you so much for coming to our podcast today. For anyone who wants to connect with you or find you, they can go into LinkedIn, look up Nicola Richardson. They'll be able to find your profile. And they can also go to the website, thepeoplementor.co.uk, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and that's Nicola Richardson, the people mentor. So you should find it that way as well. There are a lot of videos on there now, all with things to help people have difficult conversations or to look at culture, as we mentioned at the beginning, which starts with me. I always think it starts with the difficult conversations in the first place.
Thank you so much, Nicola. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.